Well, to talk about this, we're happy to say that Ian Brodie is in studio with us. He was Prime Minister Harper's first Chief of Staff. Ian, nice to see you again.
Good to see you, Michael.
So how does it feel back in Ottawa after all this time to be walking around the city?
Well, it's great to remember all of the great events that we had at the time. Being politics is a lot of work, and at the time, you feel the sort of slings and arrows of it. But as time goes by, you remember the fun times and some friends. It's great to see lots of old friends in the area. I have to say, a little sad not to be able to walk through Centre Block. I know there's a great renovation going on. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the old building. But to be able to go through and relive some of the moments, historic moments through the halls there would also be good. That'll have to wait a couple of years.
Yeah, well, you say slings and arrows, and you'd say walking the halls, which makes me wonder about Prime Minister Harper. Of course, we saw him yesterday in that fireside chat with the former Prime Minister Chrétien. He now has his portrait unveiling here in Ottawa today. How do you think Prime Minister Harper, or at least Stephen Harper in his time as Prime Minister, will be remembered? Because, here we are 10 years after he's left office. Arguably, the passage of time allows us to have a more objective view of his tenure. What do you think Prime Minister Harper should be remembered for?
I think remembered as a safe set of hands. There were some difficult times at the moment, not quite what we have today with Mr. Trump, but financial crisis, terror attacks and so forth in the world, and he was a steady presence for that. I think a steady manager of the federal government. Not a flashy manager of the federal government, but spending under control, balanced budgets, taxes that were down. It's true, of course, at the time, lots of people were better off in the middle class than today. That continues to be a challenge, I think. In Western Canada, if I can say, tremendous pride that someone from Calgary was occupying that office and to bring a different perspective to national affairs. At the same time, he worked very hard to bring Quebec and the country together. He worked, I think, very deftly and carefully with his Quebec ministers and with his Quebec supporters on that front. So it's good to see this week some recollections of his time on the Quebec side of the country as well.
Recollection. How about acknowledgement? Because I wonder how Stephen Harper feels, because again, when he left 10 years ago, loved by Conservatives, not necessarily so by others.
Yes, well, insofar as, I don't mean as a partisan comment, but as Mr. Carney ran last year, echoing back to his time with Harper government as a public servant, echoing some of Mr. Harper's catchphrases about Canada's new government and energy superpower. The idea that there's a pendulum swinging back and that people are remembering that there were some very good moments of the Harper government, that there was a solid sense of national unity and of prosperity that we're trying to recoup. I think with time, some of the arrows have gone into the quiver again, and people are remembering what they enjoyed of that time.
Mm-hmm. Which, of course, is a good reminder that Mark Carney was appointed Governor of the Bank of Canada by Prime Minister Harper. I think that was towards the end of your tenure as Chief of Staff. What is the relationship between the two men?
Well, they're both, of course, men of the world, men of the business world, both economists, of course. Mr. Carney originally from the western part of the country as well and spent a great deal of time there, so there's a similar viewpoint there. That said, I think Mr. Carney probably a little more comfortable in the financial world of Bay Street and Wall Street than Mr. Harper is today. Complementary in the sense that Mr. Carney now has to deal with a Trump administration that's not of his political stripe, and Mr. Harper, I think, has some insights about how to deal with Trump administration people at the conservative side of the political spectrum in the United States. That's now so essential to Canadian national interests that I'm sure they have some excellent conversations about that.
Well, and Tana McCharles of the Toronto Star, she did write an article about the two men talking, which may surprise more partisan grassroots members of either party. You touched upon it a bit, but do you know specifically what they're talking about? I
don't. I suspect that not many conversations go by that political challenges in Western Canada don't come up. We have a possibility of a referendum campaign this year in Alberta and a petition going on. Mr. Chrétien and Mr. Harper talked about this yesterday briefly. And insofar as I don't think I don't think Mr. Carney he doesn't come from the political side of politics, if you catch my meaning. You know, he didn't come up through the ranks going door to door and stumping across the country and so forth. I think he's proved to be pretty good at it, but that's not his natural place. And so far as Mr. Harper has, I think, probably a better pulse of that set of challenges that will face the government later on this year. I expect that'll be part of the conversation too.
Do you think some Conservatives will be upset to know that he's getting advice from Stephen Harper?
Everybody wants the country to succeed, and insofar as there's been some progress on issues for the economic development of Western Canada, I think we're all the beneficiary of that.
I know you hesitate to be partisan, but I'm going to ask you a partisan question
Sure.
right now. Because, you know, you and I were speaking this past weekend at
Right.
the Conservative Convention, and you have here a leader in Pierre Poilievre who built a very successful coalition,
Right.
not enough to win government in 2025. He's eyeing the next election whenever that may be. How does he build back? Because still, when you look at the polling numbers, Mark Carney enjoys a comfortable lead in the preferred prime minister category. How does he build back? How does he counter that, especially if Prime Minister Carney, from time to time, gets advice from former Prime Minister
Yes.
Harper?
Well, Mr. Harper, in fairness, got advice from a lot of other people while he was Prime Minister as well, including Liberals. So fair is fair. When the national interest is at stake, you have to answer that call. For Mr. Poilievre, I think the challenge is whether there'll be an election this year or not. If there is an election, then I think people are going to want to know, why are we back at the polls so soon, and what's changed since the last election? How is my life better? How is the country safer or in better hands? On that front, I note that everything Mr. Carney says and his ministers say talk about things better a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And so I'd be surprised if they go to the polls early, because it seems to me that Mr. Carney is planning for a longer-term payoff for some of the things that he's doing. And if I were him, I think I'd want some of those wins in the can before I went back, because I know that Mr. Poilievre will be quick to take advantage of that.
Okay. Listen, I have a minute left, but I want to ask you, because you were at the center of it all.
Yes.
And you walked away.
Yes.
Do you ever miss it?
I'll tell you, I don't miss waking up in the morning having to worry about what's in the headlines, but you do miss all the people. I thought we had a fantastic team. Mr. Harper assembled a very good group of people. I enjoyed working with all of them. And there is a certain sense where the battle of politics forges strong friendships. So I'm really looking forward to the portrait hanging today. There'll be some old friends in the room. And then the big show tomorrow night over at the Convention Center with more than 1,000 people. Some friends I haven't seen in quite a while. Even yesterday I was around town seeing people I hadn't seen in quite a while. I'm looking forward to seeing all of them and to take some pride in what we were able to accomplish over the course of 10 years, and maybe enjoy a little bit of the reappraisal that people are having of the Harper years.
Okay. Well, weather-wise, Ottawa is colder than Calgary right now.
It is a bit colder, yes.
So I hope you get to bask in the warmth of friendship tomorrow.
Yes, that's right.
Ian, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.